everyone, it's Lisa Ross, though you may know me better as Paper Daisy Creations, and today we are merging our pathways. So I've created little mini versions of the clues that you've been working, and I'm going to demonstrate to you how we're going to put these together. First of all, I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my testers. My test knitters had to work from written instructions only. They did not have this video to help guide them. And they helped me fine tune all the wording just to make sure that it was very clear. But I know that so many of you like to use the visuals of a video. And so here I am to show you what to do. So to begin with, we've got the clue that we just finished working. This was clue 4. Again, mine looks quite different than yours. This is just a small representation of it. And I'm going to work my setup row. So this is step number 1 on merging pathways. I'm going to join my yarn and I'm going to knit 2 and SSK. And if you've followed me for a while, you know that I like to hold my yarn tail with my working yarn just to weave in that end as I go. So that's what I'm doing right here. If you are choosing to do that, you just have to remember that when you come back to those stitches, you work each of these doubled up stitches as single stitches. And I usually do that for 3 to 5 to 7 stitches. Just to keep it securely woven in. So this should be good. This is 4 stitches where it's held doubled, and that will secure that yarn tail. I'm working to the end of this row, and I'm going to slip the last stitch with yarn in front, just as I have been doing. All right, so here I have the end of clue 4. These are my working stitches, and we are going to be getting all of the stitches to put onto this needle. So let me pull out my other mini. So this is my mini section. This represents clues 1 through 3. Of course, it looks quite different and quite smaller than yours. And in the diagram, you'll see that this is what I'm calling the joined side, because I'm going to join these stitches to these stitches. Here, I'm putting my working stitches over on the left. I'm putting my joined side over on the right. And then I'm going to slip all of these stitches onto these needles right here. So all of these stitches are going to go onto this needle. I moved these onto the needle just so you can see we're going tip to tip, moving these stitches onto this needle. But now I'm going to slide those over. And so we slip purlwise. Make sure both of your pieces are right side facing up. You need to make sure that your right side is up so that you're slipping in the correct direction. And this is point B on the diagram, and this is point A, and I'm going to slip those stitches. My yarn tail is hanging down in between, so that's going to be right in between those slipped stitches, and it's a good indicator. That tail can be woven in, but I'm keeping it there for now just so that I can help make sure you are in the correct spot with all of your stitches. So slip all of those stitches onto the needle, onto the needle that is holding clue 4. All right, and now I have my working stitches. The yarn is still attached. I have my joined side with the yarn tail hanging down between the 2 sides. And what I'm going to be doing now, I'm going to be joining them, these 2 stitches together. So I've got both of mine are facing up. They're all on the same needle. Working stitches are on the left, joined side is on the right. And now I'm going to put all of the joined side onto this needle. And I'm going to put all the working stitches onto this needle. And keep the right sides facing up so that it looks like this. Okay, I did not ever flip them over. I've got right sides facing up. I've got working stitches ready to work and the joined side on the needle because I'm going to combine this first stitch on this needle with the first stitch on this needle. Okay, I'm ready to join these two sides. So in order to do that, I'm going to take this pink stitch. So for me, this was the last stitch that I worked in clue 4. I'm going to slip that stitch onto the needle, the left needle. I'm going to place a marker. Oops. And then I'm going to work an SSK. So I slip this stitch. If you work your SSK by slipping 2 stitches knitwise, I only slip the first stitch knitwise. It's a modified SSK that I work. Okay, so let me show you this step one more time because it can be a little bit confusing, and this is the hardest part of the entire thing. So I'm starting with my stitches like so. I'm going to slip this first stitch onto the left needle. I place a marker, and then I work an SSK to secure these 2 stitches together. All right, so my 2 sides are joined right here in the middle with my right sides facing up. I've got the working stitches here on the right, and the joined side is on the left. And now I'm ready to work the wrong side row. Okay, we are going to be working short rows back and forth across these stitches and slowly joining the stitches that are on this side. So I turn my entire work. Mine's a little smaller than yours will be. And I'm going to work the setup row. So I slip one with yarn in front. I slip the marker, and then I purl to the last 2 stitches. All right, I'm at the last 2 stitches. I knit one, and I slip one with yarn in front. And I'm going to turn it back to the right side so you can see what it looks like. So it should look like your diagram in the pattern. We have our working stitches on the right, the joined side on the left. We have a marker right here, and we have our joined stitch is right next to that marker. So this is a good place to check your stitch counts. You should have 144 working stitches and 144 joined stitches. Your working stitches are going to include all of the stitches leading up to the stitch marker, plus the single stitch past the stitch marker. And then on the joined side, you should have all of the rest of the stitches. These are all in the main color, which will be easier to count when we're working with some of the CC colors. As we are working on this side, every right side row, we are going to decrease a stitch from this edge, and on the joined side, we're going to be decreasing a stitch right next to that, the working stitch that's next to our stitch marker. And you'll get to see the shaping emerge as we go. If you worked my Simply Fun cowl, the shaping is very similar in the way that we're going to be gradually using one stitch from each of the joined stitches. So if you've worked that cowl, you have a little bit of an advantage to see how we're working these stitches back and forth. Okay, I am going to work the next right side row. So this is under the honeybees section. We're working, we've already worked rows 1 and 2. I'm going to be working rows 3 and 4, which is a stockinette decrease. And so let me show you how you work that. You're going to knit 2, SSK. Again, I do a modified SSK, only slip the first stitch knitwise and then join them. I feel like it gives a more symmetrical look to the K2 together. I'm going to knit across to the marker. I slip that marker, and now that first stitch that's past the marker, I'm going to work an SSK. So I'm going to slip it off, and I'm going to combine it with that first joined stitch right there, and that's my SSK. I'm going to turn the entire work to the back, and I'm ready to work the wrong side row, which has 1 stitch to the right of the marker. I'm going to slip that stitch with yarn in front, slip the marker, and then purl across to the last 2 stitches. On that second to last stitch, I knit it and I slip 1 with yarn in front. All right, and you will begin to see diagonal lines emerge here, and you're going to see each side get a little bit shorter as we work them together. Now, keep in mind that every set of working stitches should be equal to the set of joined stitches. And the working stitches include the stitch that's to the left of the marker and all of the other stitches with the working yarn on the needle. The joined stitches do not include this one that's to the left of the marker, but include all of the rest. And those 2 sections should remain equal as we work the rest of Clue 5. Be sure to join the knit along chats. If you have any trouble, there are so many helpful knitters that are willing to share their advice, share their experiences, share different ways of doing things. I am just one knitter and I do things a certain way, but other people have found ways to modify or explain the instructions a little bit differently. So if you are struggling, that is a really great place to get lots of opinions, lots of help, and to guide you through any tricky parts of the pattern. You can find all of my designs on Ravelry and on paperdaisycreations.com, and I wish you all very happy knitting.